Hello, everybody. Good morning, good day, good evening from wherever you're joining us. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Andile Madonsela, and I'm still your host. And I'd love to welcome you to the second episode of the AEN Podcast. If you're still wondering who the AEN is and what we are all about, please make sure that you refer to the first episode and come back to this one because we do have a great one for you. So today's episode is about EIDM as a career path for young people. So if you're watching the first episode or listening to the first episode and you're wondering, okay, so how do I get involved, especially as a young person, this episode is for you. We still want to hear from you, so please make sure that you still interact with us on all our social media platforms using the hashtag AEN Podcast. Like I said last time, we are everywhere. We are on LinkedIn, we are on Twitter, we are on TikTok. You will find us everywhere. So without wasting more time, I'd like to introduce today's guest. And his name is Dr. Luvuyo Jalisa, who works as a policy specialist at the Department of Water and Sanitation in South Africa. Hello.
Hi, Andile.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. So I know I said in the first episode that we are not about qualifications and when you got your qualification, but you recently became doctor.
Yes.
Tell us about that journey. How was that like?
Oh, it was not easy. But I started, actually, it's an interesting story. Mm-hmm. I transitioned from anthropology. I did my master's in anthropology, environmental anthropology. Mm-hmm. Then I remember having a conversation with my then supervisor, Dr. Karina, mm-hmm. and we were talking about transitioning towards the evidence space. And with anthropology and their obsession with ethnography, it was not a great field for me. So I moved towards development studies, and that's where I could apply the issue of evidence and also the methodology of systematic reviews. So I did that, and it was a long, I think 4 years, ups and downs, but finally I got the PhD, even though it was not easy. So yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So now on to the very fun bios that I have. The first one is that Luvuyo is one of the many exports from Eastern Cape. So I have two friends from the Eastern Cape, so I know that Eastern Cape people are solid people. And then the second one is that he loves protecting the environment, but is not a fan of nature. I'm pretty sure I speak for everyone when I say I need you to elaborate.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. When you come to Gauteng and all these urban areas or urban provinces, many people in those provinces, they like doing this thing of hiking and doing all those things. What fascinates them. For me, it's not, because I did that. I was forced to do it because we used to go and look out for the cows and sheep and everything. So hiking for me was like an upbringing process. So I don't like that aspect. I love nature in terms of protecting the environment. But in terms of going and seeing, sightseeing, no, it's not my thing. I've done that. I've done that a long time. So I'm not about to do it now.
Oh yeah, okay, I get that. So on to some icebreaker questions. Are you ready for these ones?
No, but yeah.
Don't worry, they're nice ones. So the first one is, what is your all-time favorite song? So for me, there are certain songs I tell my friends that, you know what, if I die and you play the song, I'm going to come back. I might come back. What is that one song for you?
No Regrets by Eminem.
Ooh,
so that's my
favorite.
If you play even at my funeral, maybe I might come back. So that's my favorite song. No Regrets.
Okay. The second one is a bit deep. Needs you to think a bit. So, what is something that you learned the hard way over the years? Like it took you a while to learn this lesson.
I've always been this shy person.
Okay.
And I remember when I was in grade 11 or something, there was an opportunity for me to get into the TV space.
Ooh.
And I won't name which channel and whatnot, but I was too shy to do that. And that's when I also realized that, nope. Then there was also, during the varsity years, I wanted initially to do law. Okay. But I realized I won't be that good because it needs you to be in front of people speaking. And that's why I decided, nope, it's not me. But over the years, then that thing fell off, and I'm now confident I can speak in front of I don't know how many people. So that's the hard thing I've learned throughout the years, and I've lost many opportunities because of that. So yeah.
Get that. And then the third one is, what is a new habit that you're trying to cultivate? Yeah. Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to work out? Are you trying to eat healthy? What is that new habit that you're trying to cultivate?
I've started, I think, earlier this month. So it's around the 18th right now. Exercising. I'm doing the skippings and whatnot. So that's the new habit. I don't know, because sometimes I skip the days, but sometimes I do focus on it. But yeah, that's the habit I'm trying to cultivate. Yes.
Good luck with that.
So yeah.
And then the fourth one is, this is a fun one, I think. So if you could invent a holiday, what would it be and what would you call it? A holiday.
A holiday. Yeah. Holiday.
Holiday.
Holiday. We already have so many holidays.
Come on, invent a new one.
A new one will be. No, it will sound somehow. Let me think of another one. Because I was going to say National Nudity Day, but not that. It can be a reading day. I think that will suffice, a reading day.
And what are we doing on reading day?
We just read and we dissect complex terminologies. You read a book, I read something, then we explain what we have read, then so that we can share that particular knowledge. I think that would be good, but I don't think it will be feasible because we're not a reading nation.
We could become a reading nation. Okay, the last one. So I think this one would be nice because given where you're from. So what is the best phrase or like piece of slang from your hometown that you can teach us? That is the best one. Teach us a slang or like a phrase that people say.
A slang or a phrase
that people say from your hometown.
From my hometown.
Yes.
Ndizoti iqaqa. Iqaqa aliziva kunuka.
Okay.
There's no direct loose translation for that, but what it means is that sometimes those who are doing something bad, they don't see it.
Okay.
So that's why iqaqa aliziva kunuka. You can go around doing up until someone points it out to say, you need to fix this. Then that's where people will start to realize. So that would be the phrase. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for teaching us a new slang then. And that's it. Those are the icebreaker questions. Not bad, right?
Yeah, they're very intense, but they're not breaking the ice.
Okay, on to the serious questions. Now we're being serious people.
Okay.
We are speaking to young people specifically who are interested in a career in evidence-informed decision-making, in EIDM and whatever you call it. But maybe let's start there. What would you say EIDM is to someone who's never heard about evidence-informed decision-making? What is that?
The term itself explains it. It's I would say it's about the utilization of different sources of information, including research that is based on evidence in order to inform the decisions, whether it's a decision in the policy making processes, the implementation, and also the reviewing of the policies. So it's about that use of these different sources of information and also the evidence, research evidence, so that you make a particular decision. So that's how I would explain it to someone who've never heard the term.
It's quite clear. Okay. And how did you find this world of EIDM? Because now that you're working in the space, how did you? Because there's no child in creche or kindergarten who says, "When I grow up, I want to be in evidence."
It's new. It's new.
How did you find it?
And the interesting part about it is that it started in 2016 for me.
Okay.
When I was an intern at UJPQ.
Okay.
And at that time, I remember my supervisor for masters, which is Dr. Karina. I will always make reference to Dr. Karina because, she's like a living God for me. And spoke with Prof. Ruth. Then I became an intern and whatnot. And we were preparing for Evidence 2016.
Yeah.
That's when I learned about the space on evidence and whatnot. Then I became interested. That is why in 2018, when I graduated from my master's, we sat down and started to move towards the transition or transitioning towards the EIDM and doing a PhD on it. So ever since that, I've been learning what the then ACE, now the SACE, have been producing, and including AEN in terms of what they publish and whatnot, and how do we then institutionalize within the government.
Yeah.
So I've tried to do that, and that's how I became, or I joined this particular space. Okay. So it's a long one.
You just mentioned institutionalizing EIDM within the government space. So what role do you actually play within the evidence? So we spoke about this on the previous episode, the African evidence ecosystem. Who are you? Are you a knowledge producer? Are you a user? Are you a policymaker?
It's difficult because I see myself as both the producer and the user. Producer in a sense that I do conduct a research on this particular space. And a user, I'm a policymaker who uses evidence to make policy decisions. But on a professional note, I would say I'm a user because that's where most of my focus is. I'm a user of evidence within this huge space. So,
So as a young person in this sector, what are some of the issues that you feel strongly about? So what is that one thing that you continuously advocate for?
Maybe if I can call it the decentralization of the evidence ecosystem.
Love that.
Because we always see this dichotomy between the researchers who are the producers of evidence and also the users who would be termed the policymakers, where there is that linear way to say, no, it's only your academics, the researchers who can inform policies, giving this notion that policymakers are unable to do the research on their own and they are unable to inform the researchers on what topics are in need, or there is a gap, but we want to fill it with a policy document on that. So decentralization of that, but also taking into account that there are different forms of evidence, including the knowledge from the local people. It can be counted as evidence itself. Definitely. So decentralize the evidence ecosystem. Let's do the collaboration. There's no linear way. We are moving away towards that old approach where it's just researchers informing the policymakers. Let's use a cycle where we inform each other, we collaborate, because at the end of the day, we want to make a change.
Yes.
So
and only together can we do that.
Together, you see.
And then, what are some of the important lessons that you've learned over the years that you can share with young people that are interested in studying in the sector of EIDM?
it's a new field. And it has many opportunities. While we are looking at the issue of 4IR, now people are talking about
AI
the
tools.
5IR. There's a lot that is happening in the technology space, but there's also a lot that is happening within the evidence ecosystem.
Definitely.
And the nice thing is that even the government in South Africa has seen an opportunity in this particular space. Within the presidency itself, they are embracing the issue of evidence-informed decision-making ecosystem. Various national departments are also embracing this new phenomena. So there would be opportunities that will come in the near future. And you know that even though we have, there's a revolution in terms of what is happening right now, with regards to the use and the generation of evidence, we still need young people to do that. You look at the ChatGPT and whatnot, all these new technologies, they are not that strong in terms of what the EIDM ecosystem at large can do in general in order to inform the decision-making processes. So young people come in, tap into this new space, you won't regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say the same. They would not regret it. But then how do they start? What's the starting point? What's the starting point?
The starting point, because with that ecosystem, I'll be frank, it doesn't need lazy thinkers. I'm sorry to be frank. So it needs people who are not afraid of reading. People who are not afraid of having questions. People who are always curious. Because you read a lot in this space, and there's a lot of evidence that is coming through almost every day. So the starting point is on the educational system, how you position yourself. Because I'm an environmental anthropologist by training, then transition to this particular space. And as you've already indicated, no one grows up and say, my dream is to become an evidence producer or whatnot. But it's a lot. It's also dynamic. You can do any field, but also participate within the EIDM space.
Definitely.
So it's a multidisciplinary approach and processes. So you can start by getting a degree. That's the starting point. Then you can transition or position yourself in the EIDM space. Engage with various organizations that are playing a particular role in this particular space. In South Africa, we know the AEN. Just go there. They also post even the post available positions and scholarships. So yeah, that's the starting point for the South African space. So the other in Africa, yes, you can still utilize the AEN because it's in Africa in general. But yeah, I would say look out for that. Go to their website, be curious, do your own research.
Definitely.
Then you'll be able to enter into this particular space.
Thank you for that. Last question.
Yeah.
Where do you see the future of EIDM? You just mentioned for 5IR apparently. Just mentioned chat. What's
Yeah.
so where do you see just the future of EIDM within the many things that are happening in the world?
I think I would start by saying the future looks bright. And the nice thing about EIDM is that it's not only focused. Yes, it started in the health system. It's not only focused on that. It has transitioned over the years. And I've already indicated that it's dynamic in its nature. It can be involved in any space, whether you're looking in terms of the technology, the utilization of the technology itself, and the applicability of the technology. You are looking at whether it's logistics, whether it's policy decision making, whether it's in the environment, protecting nature. So that's where it is. It's almost everywhere. We cannot pinpoint one point to say this is where it's going. It's almost everywhere. So as we change as the world, the EIDM is also changing. So it informs almost everything.
Definitely.
So that's where we are going. So we're moving with the with the world.
Okay, thank you for that. One last question. So how do you want to be remembered in the future? What do you want when people think about your life and sort of your contribution that you've made in the EIDM space? What do you want them to think about or remember about you? Yeah, I know it's a tricky one.
But let me start. In general, my laughter. I'm always laughing. So my supervisor even says, my former supervisor even says that there's a Luvuyo laughter. So I laugh in a certain way. So that's the one in general. But within the evidence space, I would like to be remembered as someone who tried his best to institutionalize the EIDM within the government. It's not easy.
I can imagine.
There are lots of pushbacks, especially from the old generation. So, and trying to institutionalize and ensuring that the government takes this thing very serious. So that's the only thing I would like to be remembered with.
Okay. You just gave us the Luvuyo laugh. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's cold in Joburg. Thank you so much for taking the time to come in and share this knowledge with us, specifically for young people that are interested in the EIDM space. And to you, our listener or our viewer, thank you so much for tuning in to the second episode of the AEN podcast. Please make sure that you do stay engaged with us on all our social media platforms using the hashtag AEN podcast. And then I'll see you again on the next episode. Thank you so much.